San Andreas. I really liked this film for what it was. I think it was a very good disaster film. I think the effects are fantastic. The destruction they did on such a large scale for landmarks we're used to seeing all the time was very impressive. I thought the acting was good. In some cases it was very good, in other places it was tolerable. I think most of the cast could have been replaced by someone else and it would have been a better movie, but I still think they did a very good job. It was kind of that level of acting. Like, nobody in it really stood out for me. I think the two guys in it that were meant to be the brothers, the two English brothers, which actually really made me laugh, because there's a scene in the film where the Rock's daughter asks them where they're from and they just say England, and that's seen as enough, and that just makes me giggle because their accent is so obviously British. They're like very stereotypically like very posh and well spoken, sort of clean Queen's English, and so you'd expect, like, I thought when she was asking, she was like something more specific, but they looked you in England and that was enough, and I just thought that was really funny, but slightly off point. But I thought they were both very good, especially considering that neither of them actually have an English accent. Neither of them are English that played the parts, and therefore they carried their accent out phenomenally throughout. I didn't realise that either of them were English, basically, in the whole way through, all ranges of emotions. Not because normally when someone's putting on an accent, you can kind of tell a little bit in moments of extreme acting, when they've got to like do something on an emotion on an extreme, because their voice wavers a bit and you can hear parts of their old accent or other accents creeping in. You couldn't at all. I think they both had a very convincing British accent the whole way through in all of their moments of acting, and therefore I thought they were both very good. But everyone else was kind of, if someone else had played them, I wouldn't have noticed. I felt like the characters were good and likeable, but there was no acting standout, is what I'm trying to get at, basically. I think it did what it set out to do. It was a very good disaster movie. I didn't mind the character development. Some people said that it was kind of not needed or wasted or useless. I really enjoyed it. I thought it worked well. It did make me get very emotional. I did cry in this film quite a considerable amount, but then I'm not very good with like family moments, either reuniting or being split up. I find them very emotional. So I cried quite a lot because it's a disaster movie. Families were being split up and reunited all over the place. That really hit me. And then I also have a real sibling thing. Any sibling things displayed on TV, books, film, anything like that, and I get really, really emotional. I will cry a lot if it's a sibling thing or a sibling-like relationship. And as there was two kind of sibling relationships throughout, the one with the two brothers, and then there was another kind of sisterly one. One of the sisters wasn't present, so I don't want to say anything else, I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the sisters wasn't present, so that kind of has an effect as well, and that really hit me. So I found them very emotional, and the whole family situation. So in some ways I think the backstory was needed and some of the development was needed because it had that emotional effect on me. But I also acknowledge the fact that I get very emotional very easily under certain topics. So maybe somebody who is just less emotional than I am, which pretty much covers everybody, then maybe it wouldn't have been as much of a big deal. Maybe the development might actually have been annoying, but I liked it because it helped me create this emotional bond that I felt was needed to help move the film along. Because even though the action was very impressive and all the destruction because of all these natural disasters were impressive, I don't know, I think I would have been quite bored if it was just that. So that kind of was the gist. To give you a quick kind of synopsis without really spoiling anything, though, some of it is going to be quite obvious because it is a very stereotypical disaster movie and follows the format very well. So you have the Rock's character who is works for like helicopter rescue, so he goes rescues people basically in dangerous situations in a helicopter. He's like the head of the crew. He's just got divorced from his wife. They have one teenage daughter. His wife is now moving in with her new partner with this daughter, and they had another daughter, but she died in a drowning incident, which kind of caused their divorce. So that's kind of the setup you're starting with, and then there's a massive earthquake along the fault lines in America. There's a massive earthquake, which leads to obviously many disasters. You also got tsunamis on top as well, so there's a lot of natural disasters going on throughout. Their daughter ends up being caught in the midst of it, and even though they're on the outskirts, they kind of reunite to go back in to get her. That's predominantly the film. I haven't given away too many spoilers there. I don't think like I did, because I feel like it was quite a predictable film. There was nothing that particularly shocking about it, or any of the shocking moments I haven't mentioned. But that's the outline for the film. It worked well, as I said. I feel like there was enough attachment for it to work, so I enjoyed it. I also liked the sort of university element they had and how they're investigating earthquakes and they began to predict them and things like that. I thought that was quite an interesting sort of side subplot. Very small, very underdeveloped, but still quite interesting. Overall, for its genre, I thought it was a very good film, and I think if you're into disaster films and want to go and see something purely because it's a disaster film and you want to see mass destruction and heartwarming separation and families being reunited, then it's that sort of film. It's a film you will enjoy. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. As I said, I found it quite emotional. I enjoyed it. I think it's very good for its genre, so that's a reasonable score for me, but it was nothing exceptional. There was no standout moment in the film, in the acting, in the way it was made. There was nothing that really stood out for me, but it was an enjoyable film to watch. Though I did find the ending slightly inappropriate, because I don't know if it's just me and I laugh sometimes in awkward situations. It's like a reflex I have, or I was laughing out of relief, but I just felt like the ending after such an emotional film was comical, and you don't really want that at the end of an emotional film. I didn't feel like it was needed, basically. I don't think it was meant to be comical. I just thought it was really funny. If anyone's seen the film, you might know what I mean. I don't think many people will find it. I was literally the only one laughing, and I tried to do it quietly as well, because I didn't feel like it was appropriate laughter. But I thought it was really amusing, because it was so uncalled for and out of place and somewhat hilarious. I don't know why it was a thing. I found it very amusing, and so if anyone's seen the film and knows the ending and also just had the same sort of thing as me, I would be surprised, but you might understand at least what I mean when you watch the ending to this film. But that is all I really have to say about this. And yeah, I will see you soon.